Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. And 8 Clause, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go. I copied a while ago, 1 Charlie transmission that my thing used, and 8 5, this is 7 November, Charlie. 8 5 right now. Now 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
This is 1 Charlie, reference to your last, you're Brandon, what you get into Fox Drive, the 1200 between teams and local. Also request 3 units take inbound message to see if we can try to get Whiskey 9 and 8 for Pond. It's a pleasure, Alex.
And this is 7 November, Roger, stand by.
Got that?
Got it? Alright. And all units, this is 7 November Golf, my unit Alpha, Echo, X-ray Alpha Alpha in there.
One Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Yeah, I never took a dip. I forgot to take a dip.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. This is Whiskey 9, go. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo.
All right. Welcome to a live stream. You know how it goes. You ask me questions. I give you answers. If there's no VA questions, there's no live stream. So thank you very much. I'm wearing my ugly Christmas sweater. I don't think it's that ugly. It is Lord of the Rings, Gandalf the Grey fighting Balrog, Durin's Bane. All right. Anyways, yeah, that's what I got going on. So let's hop on to it. Right on. How's it going? What's up? Pin comment here. Everyone should join the Discord. If you're watching this, join the Discord. Okay. Members have member-only access to a retired VA rater to ask them all the questions that you want. All right. You've been waiting for a live. Okay, now's the time. You got to ask questions. All right. Finally made it in time. Okay, sweet. Thank you for being a member. Let's see how it goes. All right. Here's our first question. Oh yeah, I don't want to skip that. Anchorage Prepper. What's up? Do they give lowering rating if you get a general under honorable discharge? Nope. Your discharge is you're either eligible or you're not. General discharges are eligible. You're fine for VA benefits. Go forth, do great things. When I say VA benefits, like you might want to look at, if you're thinking of like GI Bill stuff, there's a time implication there, but I assume you mean disability. So the Medal of Honor raise is awesome. What a way to bless some of our heroes. Yeah, it's great. They get $100,000 a year. Survivors, I think, is really big for survivors too. And yeah, just those comments from that article, man. Pretty wild. St. Andrews. Can you be granted for chronic fatigue syndrome if you have a sleep condition like sleep apnea, narcolepsy, or will they deny you because of a sleep condition? That's a difficult question, man. And it is not, it's more of a CMP exam, medical evidence thing than anything else. It's a great question because when you look at chronic fatigue syndrome, you're essentially ruling things out. Now, what's cool about this, and depending on what you mean by cool, there was, let me see if I can find it for you. Let me share my screen and I will search this live for everyone. Hopefully we can find it. Okay. Let's go to Gunny Google. Let me zoom in a bit here. Oh, why did it not? That's weird. Okay. Going to Google, and we'll look at ICD for Gulf War illness. Okay. I know you said chronic fatigue syndrome. It's looking at chronic fatigue, GWI, all of those things. Okay. But to answer your question, the good news is there's an official ICD, which is International Classification of Diseases, diagnosis within the medical community at large, outside the VA, for Gulf War illness. And I do think that's those effects are going to be felt for chronic fatigue syndrome and other things that are essentially MUCMIs. Okay. Now, when you look at MUCMIs, and the reason I'm bringing that up, and let's just go right back to where we were. All right, presumptive list. VA presumptive list. Please pull up the PDF here. Nope. I'm going to have to go to Edge probably. I always have problems with Chrome because Chrome sucks. So let me go. Let me hop this up real quick. Bop. I'll share this screen. Hold on, everyone. I need to show you this. This is very important. This is going to be worth it, I promise. Okay. VA presumptive list. Look at that. Wild. Nope. That wasn't even it. What is happening? There we go. This is what I'm looking for. Oh my goodness. That took forever. I see that super chat. I will get to you here in a second. But here's your presumptive disability list. Okay. You scroll down, you'll see atomic, you'll see Vietnam. I've shown this many times on this channel. Then you have Gulf War. And then a part of MUCMIs, you have chronic fatigue syndrome. There's also some other fibro, IBS, and then all of those. So they're not presumptive, okay? They're MUCMIs, and that matters because let me hide my screen here really quick. I'll tell you why that matters here in a second. I had to open up my email. That's why I didn't want to blast that out. It matters because you have direct, secondary, aggravation, 51s, TERA, presumptive, and then you finally get down to MUCMIs. Keep in mind there's a 6-month chronicity here, and it's not presumptive. Okay, you still need the medical opinion showing no other potential cause. But that gets to your question here. It's a really long way around the barn. It's more of a medical thing than it is anything else. Okay. So can you? Yes. Is it difficult? I'd argue probably yes as well. Hope that answers your question, dude. That was a long answer. Okay, we have a super chat. Thanks for all the good advice, bro. I just got 100% PNT. We have something for you. Do I still have it on? We do. Congratulations. Oh, wrong one. Congrats, dude. That's awesome. Really happy for. I hope that relieves some of that financial stress off your shoulders. All right. How long do you think the government shutdown will affect the MinFeb process? I don't know what the MinFeb process is. I'm trying to think of what that is. But I can tell you that my answer, regardless, is going to be I don't know. All right, finally my first live. All right, cool beans. Let's keep it going. Ask some questions. Okay. I have CMP exam tomorrow. Conditions like migraines, GERD, vertigo, hypertension, IBS. That's a ton. These are secondary to mental health. Tinnitus, head injury on my ship. How do I make these? How do I make sure these are all, and I'm going to assume, get granted. Okay. You have migraines secondary to mental health. GERD, secondary to mental health. Vertigo, secondary to mental health. Vertigo is a non-issue here. because it's going to be roped under, kind of like insomnia secondary. So I'll skip that one. Hypertension and IBS. So all of these are common secondaries. Okay, I'm going to show everyone here something. Well, hold on. I got to open up my email again. These are what people would refer to as common secondaries. Now, that means absolute dog water to most people, because it doesn't matter if you have migraines secondary or someone else does. It matters what your evidence says. Okay, here we go. So here's your list of common secondaries. I'll show you the mental health ones here. Right, GERD, IBS, hypertension, migraines, back to back to back. So are they common? Sure, they're common. The question is, I have for you, Blake, is what evidence do you have? Not the internet, not some study, nothing else. What is leading to your migraines or your GERD or your IBS or your hypertension? All right, that's the best argument to stick with. Your evidence will do the talking. CMP examiners have, and this is probably me speaking a little bit above my pay grade here, but CMP examiners have a lot of say when it comes to the medical opinion, obviously. And that opinion really, really, really weighs in on secondary conditions because they're not direct, right? There's no evidence from service to combat against a negative opinion on that one. When you're looking at secondary, you have to rely on your evidence, your secondary evidence. All right. So how do you make sure these are all whatever you want to finish that sentence with? To be honest with you, it's evidence. Evidence is the only way. Nice shirt. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes. Love the sweater. Thank you. I do too. We have a super chat. Thank you very much, DK Guns, and your member. I appreciate that. My family definitely appreciates it. I can tell you that much. Chevy Bowtie 75 says, what is the best way to change theory of service connection for denied claim? A supplemental with the lay statement or HLR? That's a weird question. I'm going to answer it though. Whoa, what a super chat. I see that. Oh my goodness. Let me answer this real quick. Whoa. Okay. So changing the theory of service connection is a basis for a supplemental claim, right? You went direct, it was denied. Now you want to go secondary. Boom. Got it. You can do that. Okay. You also want to, just because that's baseline doesn't mean you stick with that. You also want to submit whatever evidence for the service connection that you're looking for. So if you submitted direct, it was denied, I would also submit evidence showing the secondary connection there. Or if it's TERA or whatever, aggravation, whatever it is you're talking about, okay? That's what I would do. It's with evidence. All right, but a supplemental claim would be the right option, not a higher level review. Okay, that's not going to go in your favor. Kish, I assume you mean you like my sweater. Okay, we have a huge super chat here. Oh my goodness, Lionheart Cubano says, hey Clay, from the bottom of my heart, thanks. I got 100% after 4 years. Congrats, dude. That's awesome. Your videos helped me when someone at the DV told me I wasn't going to be able to get anything since I was Army National Guard. Was your opinion on Raider HQ? He's a Raider on YouTube. Thanks again, dude. Yeah, Raider HQ is he's awesome. I've talked about him in a couple of my videos. Highly recommend, especially if you want the nitty gritty. And I'll show you an example of that. Okay, some nitty gritty. Videos of his. Now, when I say nitty gritty, I mean like he teaches. Oh, I don't know why I went to my channel. Raider HQ. He goes deep into this, right? So, for instance, Let's go to videos. Right. What doesn't qualify as an in-service event? So if you're going direct, you can't see that. If you're going direct service connection and you have questions on your evidence from service, he's very specific and he gives you a very in-depth answer, right? That's a 12-minute video there. And then you have some update stuff. There's, chronic fatigue syndrome. So someone just asked a chronic fatigue syndrome question. He has a reviewing how chronic fatigue syndrome is rated for VA disability. All right. So I don't know. He has very hardcore, claiming secondary mental health, 29-minute video. Like that's, if you're doing secondary mental health, he's probably got something to teach you there. So yeah, he's a solid dude. But thank you very much, Lionheart. I appreciate that. And let me put his channel in the comments, actually. Usually I forget to do that. Later HQ. And I'm so glad you shared that, and the other people who shared, they got 100% PNT from the videos, because the amount of comments I get telling me that I don't help anyone anymore is just, it's just really stupid. Anyways, thank you very much for sharing that and for the donation. That's insane. Okay. Robert Eli Riddle, keep up the good work helping veterans. Shout out for spreading Jesus with the world. Hey, thank you, Eli Riddle. I appreciate that. Yeah, sometimes I do the live in the morning Bible studies, just depending on what's going on that day. So, thank you very much. And then we have Gerald Armstrong, 5646. Is there a difference between having a CMP exam with a contractor or with the VA itself? No. Okay. No, not at all. You don't know either of them. All right. It would be not factually correct if someone said like the CMP examiner doesn't have you, isn't going to be in your favor, and the VA exam is. That's not, there's no basis to say that. Okay. There are some CMP examiners who are rock stars. One of my friends is a CMP examiner. And she's for the better. Okay. If she can give a positive opinion there, she's going to. And so you have those rock star CMP examiners, and then you have CMP examiners who are trying to pay off some debt. You know what I'm saying? Who are just going through the motions. And I think it's the same with the VA. Right. So you have VHA person doing your CMP exam. Just depends. Doesn't mean it's going to be more or less favorable. All right. But it is quite uncommon to see CMP exams completed by the VA. Anyways, thank you for those super chats. I definitely appreciate it. Okay. Hello, Patriots. What's up? Thank you for being a member. Appreciate that. Documented well-being as its one appointment for. Oh yeah, that's about the secondary question, right? Yeah. If you have the evidence will speak for itself always. Evidence always wins. In fact, it's the only thing that wins. Okay. Hello. Is this? Oh yeah. Thank you. You got it. All right. Got me. Hi, Vanessa. How's it going? Long time no see. What do you think of ACE exams? Neither favorable nor unfavorable. People get all up in arms. It's still a CMP exam. They're still going to review your records, and you'll usually see it for like secondary conditions where the diagnosis is clear as day. So, for instance, sleep apnea with a diagnosis confirmed by a sleep study that was like 2 weeks ago. They're not going to give you another sleep study. If you're looking at secondary service connection to mental health, nothing you tell them is going to change their mind. And so that's why they're going to have an ACE, and they're going to review your records and figure out if it's at least as likely as not or less likely as not. And they don't need to examine you in person for that specific thing. Okay. So I'm just kind of indifferent on ACE exams. And you'll usually see those for secondary things with the confirmed or conceded diagnosis. Good afternoon. How's it going? I'm at 90% if I put in for another claim that is unrelated to any of my already service-connected disabilities. Does that open the door for all my service-connected disabilities? Okay, so I'm going to give you the real answer here, and people will have different opinions on this. Doesn't matter. Poking the bear does not exist if you're not 100%. Okay. And so the stigma around not poking the bear for people who are rated at 90, like this veteran is really doing a disservice to this veteran, because I can already tell you this is not the first time they've thought about this question. Okay. And I would relate it similar to my VSO experience. Whenever I got my first rating, which was 70%, I walked into the VSO's office, the same one I used for my initial rating when I was still in the Marine Corps. I went back and was like, hey, there's, I did some research. There's clearly some other things I can claim. And they told me I should be happy with 70%, not to do anything, because the VA could eventually take that away if they wanted to, right? And that was the wrong answer. And so I'm telling you, El Nino, and everyone else, if you have evidence-based claims and you're not properly rated /100%, you know what you need to do? You need to get properly rated. That's it. I don't care if those are direct. I don't care if those are related or unrelated or secondary or aggravation claims or TERA, presumptives, MUCMI. I don't care. If you have evidence-based claims, you get properly rated. That's it. That's the answer. Jason, how was your Thanksgiving? It was nice. I went down to middle of nowhere, Alabama. All right. It's a different world down there. We had Thanksgiving in a big barn. It was quiet. It was nice. Change of pace. I live about 10 minutes south of DC. And so if I go outside to the side of my house and stick out my arm, I could touch my neighbor's house. So we're just kind of on top of each other here. So it's a good change of pace. I saw a comment I want to highlight real quick. Here we go. Raider HQ actually answers most of, not all, comments. His channel is growing, but it's still small enough to keep up with the comments. He's the best. Yeah, he's awesome. And comments, the reason I wanted to answer that is because I remember when I was first starting out, I was answering every single comment, all of them. And in fact, let me make sure I'm not sharing my screen here. My average comments every 28 days. Okay. I don't know how to look for it on the computer. I'm just going to look at it on my phone. Every 28 days. And Raider HQ is going to find himself in this position here at some point. Every 28 days, comments the last 28 days, I average 9.8 thousand. So 9,800 comments every 28 days. And so if you divide that, 9,800 divided by 28, that is 350 comments per day. And so to Raider HQ, if you're out there, at some point, you're not going to be able to answer them comments, brother. All right. So wish you the best, man. But no, he has a great channel. Good education. All right. Jason Bartlett. Hope everyone has a blessed holiday season and a wonderful Christmas. Thank you very much. Same to you, same to yours and everyone else. Okay, let's get back to where I was at. I need to skip this. Why does it do that? That's annoying. Okay, here we are. Document progress. When filing a personal statement or buddy statement, does it have to be submitted using that form, or can it be submitted? Does it have to be? No. A counter question I would give is, why would you use any other form other than the VA's preferred method? And I'm telling you this right now, whatever answer you give is not going to be good enough. And so my answer, my answer to you is just use the dang form, copy and paste it. It takes 2 seconds to hit Control-C, Control-V. All right. Yep, Kish, I see you. Kish has to hop out to do a coaching session for evidence-based VA claims. All right, CB74, thank you for being a member. Appreciate that. I have worked with CBs before. All right, what is the best way to... Yeah, Jason, I don't know why your name shows. Okay, what is the best way to change... Oh, we answered that one before. Did I skip? Oh, no, that's just a copy. Okay. I received a HLR for sleep apnea. Error found and sent back. About 3 months to get an answer. What's your thought on this? I have no thoughts. There's no one on this planet that can give you an accurate timeline. Now, claims have been faster. That's a fact. This administration will let you know that for sure. Claims have been faster, but you're looking at a, I assume you mean duty to assist error. And so you're just kind of, I mean, your claims in process. Whoa, that reverb and audio effects are over the top. I don't think I have any. I don't think so. I think my audio is clean. If it's not, I don't know what I did. I had Meniere's CNP, but the audiologist only asked me about tinnitus and did a hearing test, didn't ask me anything else. That is weird, especially if it was specifically for Meniere's. But when you look at the ear system, the thing that, and I don't know the nature of your claim, but when you look at the ear system, you can be rated for Meniere's and or tinnitus, PFD, peripheral vestibular disorders, PVD, excuse me, and then hearing loss, right? And it's either or, with or without tinnitus. And so, and I don't know the nature of your claim, but that portion of it makes sense, is that they're rating your entire ear system with Meniere's, and the VA will award you the highest rating. Hey, no big deal. You're good. I just want to make sure my audio is clean. If it wasn't, I would have no way how to fix it. So I got denied knee condition, but CNP said I have a current diagnosis. Rate me denied due to Nexus. Yep. Should I get the Nexus for the CNP? Okay, so let's do the element thing here. Theories of service connection. I'm going to assume you submitted a direct claim. I'll move my head out of the way. Okay. So this is you. You have element 1. Okay. You got it. Solid. What is your evidence from service? Because I can tell you right now, if you're missing element 2, the medical doctor's opinion, the CMP exam, the Nexus, that's not going to be there. Okay, so you either have evidence in service. This is for denied claim. Okay, if you're denied and you have evidence in service, then the examiner didn't find your evidence to be related to or cause the diagnosis, right? So for instance, for a knee condition, let's say your evidence was you fell and scraped your knee, which is like nothing, right? Or you're denied and you don't have evidence from service, You're never getting a positive nexus without evidence from service on a direct service connection. Okay. Now, evidence can either be medical in nature. I'm sorry, that's the language for a nexus. In-service evidence can either be medical or evidence other than medical. So my question to you is, what is your evidence? And if you have none, I would ask you, what do you think caused your knee conditions? All right. And then you might start looking at some secondary. I'm not the biggest fan on musculoskeletal conditions secondary to other musculoskeletal conditions. Although it's possible, I'm just not a big fan of it. It's hard. Or did the condition exist prior to service and its aggravation, right? And you're not going to find those. And so my question to you is, what is your evidence in service? Because if I had to guess, you don't have any, which would then have led to a denial via Nexus, right? So you're actually denied on 2 elements. You have to satisfy all 3. Airhead USMC, what's up? It says, I wasn't. Okay. It was funny. I'll give you that. Can you submit a presumptive claim you believe you qualify for and submit secondaries to that presumptive claim at the same time? Yes, you can, even though the presumptive is not. Yes. It doesn't have to be presumptive. You can do an initial claim and a secondary at the same time. You can do it online at va.gov. If you do it, you have to do it at the same time. If you submit a claim and then a month later, then you want to submit a secondary on that, you got to use a 526 EZ, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But to be honest with you, you should have done it all at once anyway. So, but yes, the answer to your question is yes. All right. This is the TheCivDiv. Okay. He also has footage from Syria, not just Ukraine. He was also a Marine, and we were also in Syria together. Oh, he's answering now. Okay, nice. There's some spam going on there. Okay. Took me a while to get 20% for radiculopathy on my left leg with 40 DDD. That's a solid spine rating. It is weird that if you had a diagnosis of right leg radiculopathy, it's at 10. Okay, never mind. You're wanting an increase. Best thing to say to get higher rating: legs fall asleep and pain shooting down. There's nothing you can say. Like, the diagnosis is there. You have symptoms. That's there. Conceded. Boom. The VA is going to look at the amount of nerve damage. And in fact, your question really goes back. It reaches back to the changes on the neurological system. I'm going to try to find this live here. Hopefully I can do it. But so right now, the reason let me explain this. Right now, the test would have looked something like this. You sat on the doctor's bed. They may have gotten that rubber triangle hammer thing, or even just use their fingers really firm, This is your knee. And you sit down on the bed and they pop your knee. And what's supposed to happen is this. Boop. Okay. With people who have sciatic nerve damage, it does this. Nothing. That would be really bad, right? Or it might even move a little bit. But the answer to your question is actually in the method of the CMP exam, which is covered in these changes here, which is, how do you find this again? Oh, look at that. Okay. I'm a genius. You just look up sciatic. Okay. Now, this is not what we have right now. You have grades. It explains what the grade is. It's on gravity. Okay. And so motor, this is neuropathy. Okay. You can kind of just go down and look at all this, but this is for the sciatic nerve. You see these grades. This is a more objective grading scale. 2, 2 plus 3, and 4, with grade 2 being 60, right? Versus the current rating structure. So this is future. This is has not been established yet. Okay. Let's go to the current rating schedule. Sciatic 38 CFR, ECFR. That's probably not going to be it. No, it's right here. And you look up sciatic. Boom. You see how this says severe, moderate, mild? This is not objective. It's not. And so what one person may deem as moderate, another may deem as mild. Hence what we see right here. Probably. I'm saying that without knowing you or the nature of your claim. But that's why we see the changes for neurological, right? And that change, by the way, is pretty far back. There's no final actions to be determined, right? Whereas like the mental health has a final action of December. That's not going to happen, obviously. We're in December. Okay. Yeah. Hope that answers your question. That was a really long answer too. Okay, we have another super chat. I want to get to this before I miss it. 09 Mando Man. Denied for back and knee claim. Have an in-service event with treatment during service. Denied for no treatment to knee or back since service, and denial reference the ring I worked at the time as a reason for current symptoms. Yes. Okay, this is another. There's these elements that I've shown, which is right here for direct. There is actually like a hidden element. And this is like my translation. It's not an element, okay? But there's a hidden criteria that would be here, which is chronicity. All right, so I'm going to give you an example. I don't know your claim situation. It's probably something like this. Let's say you served in 1980. You had a knee injury and a back injury. They were minor, no big deal. But you have evidence in service, and it's clear as day. And you got out in 1984, and you did nothing all the way. I see that, Kellyanne. Thank you very much. I'll show that here in a second too. You did nothing from 1984 all the way to 2025. And in that time, you were a construction worker. You worked on the docks, the marina. You did whatever. There's zero evidence from 84 to 2025 until you submitted a VA claim. The VA, the CMP examiner, is going to see that and not show a persistent disability given the lack of evidence and current potential working hazards or whatever they want to reference in there. And does that suck? Yes, it does. What can you do about it? You got to fill in that gap. There's a huge gap from, in this situation, 84 to 2025. You got to fill in that gap with, ideally, you have private medical records. That would be the golden ticket, right? Spanning across that time frame. Statements, lay statements. Maybe you can get statements from people you worked with. I mean, anything to fill in that gap. That's how you do it. Okay. But yeah, that's a difficult. There are some denials that are harder, that are more difficult than others. This is a more difficult one if you don't have the evidence, right? Which I'm assuming you don't. So that's the answer. I hope that helped you, man. All right. Magnetar. Thank you for your donations, by the way, during the Daniel Gade episode there we did. I appreciate that. VA emailed me about an informal conference. Shouldn't my lawyer have gotten that email? I didn't schedule it, and no one has called me. Is this normal? They're going to communicate with you. Your accredited representative, in this case, an attorney. I assume they're going to represent you at the higher level review. They should. That's their job. But yeah, the VA is still going to respond to you. They're still going to correspond with you. It's just your accredited rep is going to be receiving that notification as well, right? And so I would just speak to your attorney about that, but they should absolutely be tracking about the informal conference there. And Kellyan with the 5 gifted memberships. These are random, by the way. I don't choose. Kellyan doesn't get to choose. It just happens. So Alec Yarb, North Idaho guy, Kingston, Real George Jetson, King Renegades. All of you are now members for a month. So everyone can join Discord. Okay, if you're a member, link your account. You get to ask Kishkin, retired VA Raider, all of your questions. Okay. Whoa, we got something for this. 100% PNT effective September, thanks to your help, and backdated 2 years ago. Is that rating solid? You're good, dude. You have nothing to worry about. You're good. The effective date is 2 years ago. Okay. And it's not that goes for every, the reason you're asking that is for like the 5, 10, 20. That's on individual disability effective dates. But hey, congrats. And I'll tell you this, 2 years, man. What's the difference? Let me see that math on that. Let's look at what kind of money we talking about here. VA disability pay rates, and I'm just going to use this COLA compensation at single to do this. Okay, so dependent status, veteran alone. So we need to do 3938.58 minus 2362.30. That's the difference, assuming you're at 90%. Okay, so if you were at 90 and now you're 100, your back pay is just under $40,000. So be smart with that money. Don't go back into debt. In fact, you should get out of debt. But oh, dude, you're totally good, Magnetar. It was that was awesome. All right. Got my decision in 34 days under Trump and Collins. Cool. I mean, they are processing claims, and mandatory overtime is a big part of that. Any TERA claims for JPA? Yeah. So TERA is really misunderstood. If you were exposed to something, okay? If you were exposed to something, I don't care what it is, JP8, fumes, A3F, PKP, heavy particulate matter in the air, whatever, asbestos. If you were exposed to something and that something has led to a current diagnosis and you have an opinion saying so, that is going to be connected via TERA. Okay, so the answer to your question is yes, but it's not specific to JP8 or fumes or any of that. What you do need is the VA to concede on exposure. So like concession of exposures, current diagnosis, medical doctor's opinion. That's what you need. Is diabetes secondary to sleep apnea common? Is it common? I mean, I'm not a doctor, so don't take my answer as gospel here. Is it common? I'm going to say no, because of everyone I know with sleep apnea, none of them have diabetes. And when I say everyone I know, I mean, I'm talking about veterans that I've helped. At the same time, this is when it comes to secondary, and I'll show you this little note here. This is a common secondary list, okay? You know what? I even put this in the chat. There's a note down here, and you'll find Nexus letter stuff right there. This is it. Theoretically, let me get my head out of the way. Theoretically, any condition can be secondary to any other condition. Okay? So, poopy butt can be secondary to rainbows. All right? That's not the right question. The question is, do you have the medical evidence and strong medical opinion showing the connection? Okay? So, anything can be secondary to anything else. Theoretically, of course. Hey, someone's on it. Nice. Anonymous Wolverine. Hello. But yeah, this is a Google Doc. You can download it. You can edit it. I didn't give anyone edit rights. Don't request it. I mean, you can request it. I'm just going to ignore. But yeah, these are your common secondaries, man. And this is a snapback hat. Okay. If you have a giant head, you can adjust it and it will fit. If you have a normal sized, handsome head like I do, you can adjust it. It will fit. Okay. That is not what common secondaries are. So for instance, PTSD, mental health, right? Anxiety, depression. Yes, migraines is a common secondary. That's not the question. All right, the question is your migraines connected to your anxiety? Right? It's not a one size fits all like a snapback is. It's specific, it's unique, and it requires medical evidence. Oop, my head's in the way. Anyways, I hope that answers your question there. Look, we got a few people. Hi from Kenya. Hello. Now, I will not be going to Disneyland. Me neither, because I'm going to Disney World. I'm actually going there for New Year's. FOIA request will open up way more claims as soon as the truth is told, not national security, just saying. I don't even know what you're talking about. Med board. Yeah. No. That makes sense. No, I don't think the shutdown is going to play a role in that. If I'm appealing migraine secondary to tinnitus, but since then I've been awarded 50% for sleep apnea, can I use sleep apnea instead of tinnitus? I'm at 90%. Well, I would ask you, what type of 90 are you first? Before you go forward, this is why whenever we help veterans at evidence-based VA claims, we have to know your full situation, and I'll show you why. This is a DAV calculator. Okay, it's beautiful. You're at 50% for migraines. You're at 40% for your spine. You're at 10% for each leg. You got your left knee, right? Let's say you're airborne. You got some knee conditions there. You got mental health or IBS at 30. Okay, this is 90%. Here, let me get out of the way. This is 90%. It's 87. Even if your migraines are 50%, you're still at 90%. Okay? And so now when you look at, hey man, should I get a Nexus letter for migraine secondary and all whatever it is you plan on doing? even if it's service connected, which by the way is an if, and even if you have the highest rating for migraines outside of IU, you're still at 90%. Okay. And so it matters. I want to start with that. 2, again, secondaries are not a one size fits all. What does your evidence tell you? Your evidence will dictate how you should submit your claim. We don't have a choice on how to submit. Technically you do, but in reality you don't. Your evidence will dictate how you should submit your claim. And so I can tell you personally, I'm not a big fan of migraines secondary to tinnitus. Can it be service connected? Abso-freaking-lutely. Okay. Yes, it can. But there are other factors involved here. I want to know, what else are you service connected for? I want to know what's leading to your migraines. And I really want to know if you've told your doctor about it. So, food for thought. Okay. Rob Ogletree, thank you very much. Thank you for being a member too. I appreciate that. We're spamming my chat of how much money do you make from YouTube every month. Okay, that's fine. What if the VA ignored my PMRs? I know they received them with my claim, but not listed in decision. You are in timeout for a whole day, mister. Get treated like a child, because that's what you are. Okay. Anyways, I know they received them with my claim. Oh, hold on. Primary military records? I would ask North Idaho guy. Didn't you? So you just became a member from Kellyan's thing? Yes, you did. Hop in the Discord. I have a ton of questions for you. Okay. Hop in the Discord, ask that question. I would want to know the specific claim we're talking about and what evidence for that claim you have in your records. Okay. Ken Ozak, it is still going, yes. At least for 8 more minutes. I'm going to peace out at 4:30. I got to go pick up my kids. Heart disease secondary to sleep apnea, secondary to depression. You can do secondaries on secondaries. I don't know if that's the question or not, but you can. Once it's connected, it's connected. Doesn't matter. And then sleep apnea, especially untreated, will cause a ton of problems. Death is one of them. And then hypertension is another. And then that leads to your heart, right? So that makes sense there. I don't know the nature of your situation, though. Wanted to get your thoughts on Raider HQ. Comment about there's no such thing as equipoise. We have to be 5149 minimum. So using this logic, reasonable doubt, at least as likely, is dog water. Yeah. First, I haven't seen the video where you're quoting him saying that, but I'll give you my opinion on it. When it comes to, so who's the person that gives the at least as likely as not opinion? It's the CMP examiner. Okay. CMP examiners, just to be real with you, they want to see evidence and they want to see medical evidence. The lay statement that you write, CMP examiner does not give 2 balonies about that statement. They want to see medical evidence 99% of the time. Okay. And so with that in mind, when you look at evidentiary criteria for someone who is on the fence of writing a positive opinion or a negative opinion, they're right there in the middle. They want something to get them over that hump, right? So that way they feel confident in saying at least as likely as not, because they know that you're going to get this money for the rest of your life. That's the thought consensus there, okay? And so in that manner, and I don't know the context of what he's saying, I would totally agree with him on that. CMP examiners want to see more likely than not. Really, that's what they want to see. Okay. They would rather write a more likely than not statement versus an at least as likely. And I'm saying that kind of tongue in cheek, right? Because we know at least as likely is not is there. As far as equipoise go, okay, the BVA would not be hammered with the what was the CAFC court case? The benefit of the doubt. I forgot the name of it. That's not making its way down to internal regional offices forever. Okay, so from that perspective, I totally see his point. All right, I'm going to give it 5 more minutes. I'm going to peace out of here. All right. Went to my 13th CMP exam. That's a ton. He even said the VA is excessive with all these CMPs, asking for an answer to one question. Hopefully, he will push me to 100%. Hey, wishing you the best. All right, wishing you the best. Thank you for being a member. I hope the same for you. How important is being P&T, and how do you get it? I've been a hunter for almost a decade now after being medically retired. Do you have cancer? And that should have been evaluated anyways or pushed. Special adapted housing. Your medical retirement is irrelevant here. Just FYI. I don't know. I would like to see your decision letter to see what's really going on the VA side of the house, not the DOD side of the house. Because if you're IU, you're fine. But there's a missing piece here that I can't get on a YouTube live chat. So this is a perfect time to hop into our Discord. We must secure the existence of our people in a future absolutely insane. That's mobile. I gotta find this dude. He is below. Okay. Yes, congrats to him. Any opinion on Rocket benefits? I don't even know who that is. It's actually past time for today's Raider HQ video. Hope he isn't having issues. Yeah, DV guys were not very helpful in my case. Had to use a lawyer. Raider's awesome. He let you know he does not like. Oh, yeah. Let me find a question here. I'm rated 70% for anxiety. Have a VA annual exam on the 12th. Just got rated back in August of this year, but they denied me for my physical. Is there anything to use the VA exam? Okay. So I am fairly certain we're talking about 2 different things here. One is a VA rating, which is way over here. Okay, it's over here. And then 2 is VA healthcare, which is over here. It sounds like this December 12th appointment is VA healthcare. That's healthcare, homie. Ain't got nothing to do with your VA rating. Okay. So is there anything you need to do at your VA exam? I mean, it's a doctor's appointment. So what's going on? Talk to your doctor. That's all I have. I'll answer one last question that just popped up. It's the 10-year rule. 10-year rule is simple. If your effective date is January 1st, 2025, not when you got your rating, your effective date, at 10 years, so January 1st, 2035, the VA can never take that service connection away, given fraud, obviously. So if you're rated at 50% and they decrease it to 0, that's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but they can't take away the service connection. At 20 years, the rating is protected, right? So if you're rated 50% for sleep apnea after 20 years, it ain't ever going away. Anyways, that is, that's all I got. All right. I absolutely love this comment here. Thank you so much for saying that. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. Okay. That's all I got. Peace.